Yo, good afternoon, everybody. This is your Coach Renz, and I'm going to take a brief moment to talk about this whole thing that Donald Trump said. Now, I've remade this video a few times and really went off on a tangent, but I don't want to go off on a tangent like that. What I do want to remind people is of history. The history is this. At some point, almost every country on this planet has been or could have been considered a shithole country. Donald Trump seems to forget that his family, his grandparents, left Germany on his father's side because it was a shithole country at the time. His mother family left Scotland because it was a shithole country at the time. That his wife left Slovenia because it was a shithole country at the time. When I went to Bosnia, Bosnia was a shithole country when I was there in the early 90s. When I went down to Liberia, shithole when I was there in the early 90s. When I went to Sudan and Rwanda, it was a shithole it was in the early 90s, right? So yes, every country has been. There's been a time, America, during the time frame that you enslaved millions of people, you were a shithole country during that time frame. During the time that the South had Jim Crow laws, you were a shithole region of the country at that time frame. I can look at almost any country and find a time frame where they were that. I can go as far back in history as to talk about when Tacitus wrote about Britain, said that they were naked savages giving themselves to vile things such as human sacrifices, and say that Britain was a shithole country at the time. At some point, every country was. But what is horrible today is that a country like America, a country that, yes, it has its problems today, but still has been one of the countries that has been a beacon for other people who are living in those types of countries today, where leadership is poor, where leadership has taken advantage of the people, where leadership massacres the people, where they do not understand the basic concept of humanity. It is a shame when a president looks at those people and says that he wants them to not come to a country that has better opportunities for them. When he looks at countries like Norway, which are doing far better than America as far as how it treats its people, with universal health care, education, and less crime and cleanliness. A country like that, where that is rated #1 so many times, I don't know why it's cold though, because I can't do it cold, but it's been rated that way. How a man sits on the throne of America and spouts out such idiotic statements, uncaring statements, and a just completely devoid of history and devoid of understanding. I challenge Donald Trump and every other American to read the Declaration of Independence. I recently read this document and did a short study on it in my Patreon. And the thing about it is, in this document, it talks about how Britain was treating America, having standing armies, basically martial law in America. How there was no, every time a legislative body was built, they would be disbanded. That the judges would only rule based on what the king said in order to maintain their pay. That the people were being subdued by a tyrant, and that they would continue to suffer. That the people will be willing to suffer under the tyrant because suffering is the natural nature of man unless somebody does something about it. America is a country where people who have decided to do something about their life, they come to. They come to it whatever they can and however they can, because they know that what they can do here is far better than what they are able to do in their own countries. And then for all the leaders of those countries, you should feel like you are the man of a house and your wife and your children have abandoned you for the guy across the street, because the guy across the street takes better care of his family, because the guy across the street has better food and better health care and better transportation and better education for his family. You should feel like your family is abandoning you, and that you should take a look at yourself and say, how can I make my country the country where people want to come to? How can I make Nigeria the place that people want to come to? How can I make Mexico the place that people want to come to? How can I make Bosnia the place that people want to come to? How can I make Greece the place that people want to come to other than vacation? How can I make Saudi Arabia a country that people want to come to? How can I make Syria a place that people want to come to? Israel a place that people want to come to? Iraq a place that people want to come to? How can I make Tibet a place that people want to come to? How can I make my country a place that people want to come to? That's what you other leaders should take from this. You should look at the vileness of this man, the vileness of what he spoke, and the backhanded slap to your face to say that if that is how you think about us, is that is how our people think about us, we need to change what we are doing to better understand and incorporate our people into a lifestyle where they can do better in our country. Because here's the thing. The main resource of any country is its people. The main resource of any country is its people. Oftentimes, we talk about in the black community that if not for slavery, if not for Jim Crow, that America would actually be further along, because there were many great minds that were stifled because of that. Not to say that only black people would have made America better, but there were Asian minds that came to America that could have made it better faster. There are other white minds. The Irish were persecuted when they first came to America. Their minds could have made America better faster if people weren't persecuting you based on the tribe that you come from. Many other countries still function this way, where we look at people based on the tribe that they come from and make a determination. In Alex Haley's autobiography of Malcolm X, he talked about West End and Archie. West End and Archie if you gave him your numbers, he would automatically know all the numbers in his head. He would have hundreds and hundreds of people matched up with the numbers in his head. You take a mind like that and allow him to truly be a mathematician. What could West End and Archie really accomplish instead of being a numbers runner, being a gangster? That is what I'm talking about. So other countries, please take this as a slap in the face, as an opportunity for you to say, you know what, I'm gonna look in the mirror and we're gonna change our country. We're gonna make Nicaragua great. We're gonna make Brazil great. We're gonna make it where people want to come to Chad, where people wanna come to Ghana. We're gonna make it where people wanna come to our country and then apply their ability to make things better in our country and not come to a country that is filled with racist people who don't understand and get it, who think that they're sitting on top of the mountain but can easily be knocked off. You see, America, you better get your head out your butt. You better recognize that the longer we allow for a person like that to stay on top, we allow people like that to stay in their place, that all we're doing is destroying America's ability to maintain its position in the world, to maintain its reputation of being a place that people want to come. You see, you can have the best wife, you can have the best kids, but if the husband is standing on the lawn shouting out racial epithets, shouting out ignorance and uncaring and unlove and not shouting out love, then and shouting out hatred, what you basically are saying is that the house is filled with hatred. The house has no love. That the house is ignorant. That the house needs to be burnt down. And no one wants to come to that house. Doesn't matter how loving the wife is. Doesn't matter how great the kids are. The problem is that the husband stands on the lawn yelling out stupidity. So I hope people take this in stride. Look deeper inside yourself and figure out what you can do to make your country, whatever country you're in, better. This has been your Coach Renz. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.